March 4, 2024. This is the NASDAQ NQ E-mini chart on the 1500 ticks using NinjaTrader 8. I did this chart review just because it was so slow on the ES. I marked up where I thought I saw setups. There was no economic data to really move the market, and for the most part, unlike the ES, which had a slow grinding rally, the NQ looked like it sold off in the pre-market, chopped sideways for the better part of the day, then it sold off again. So I'm going to go into the trades right now. So when I saw this in the pre-market, I was thinking immediately we're probably in some kind of trading range. Now, I'm not as familiar with the NQ, so I don't know exactly what kind of profit target and risk I would take, but I was going with the approach that I would trade for a 5-point profit target, so it's pretty much from here to here with a 10-point risk, and I would probably adjust that as required as I watch this further, through more and more, I guess, chart time. So, as soon as the market opens, prices just start selling off. This is very confusing for me. I'm not as familiar, but it just looks like it's very side-by-side price action. All these candles are pretty close to 10 points. So I'm just kind of sitting, watching, and waiting. It pushes up, it creates two legs up, one leg up, pull back, second leg up. I actually saw this as a visual first entry short, pull back, second entry short, and then when I saw this as one tick, well, a little bit more than one tick, but it's like one point. Let's see. Yeah, it's only 1 point up and then flashes down. I didn't have this drawn as a trading range yet, but I did see two clean legs up and draw it right here. First leg up and then a second leg up. It's not quite a measured move, but I thought, okay, there's two legs up. Maybe it's going to start to pull back. It created a a lower high confirmation. So I'm thinking maybe there's a trade here. I wasn't too concerned about the EMA. It looked like it would have been good for a 5-point scalp. Prices then continue chopping. Starts moving down this green channel. This is where I saw a second trade. I think this is actually a better trade because you technically have a new low here. Well, you technically have a new low here, first entry short, second entry short. So technically this would be setting up for a third entry short. But the way I saw it is this is pretty much a matching bottom. So I just took it on the big visual because unlike the ES, the NQ moves several points every candle. So if you're just kind of splitting hairs between, 1 point versus two, I think on the NQ it won't really matter as much. You have to look for kind of the bigger context. So, so instead of counting these little tiny first entry, second entries, I just count this as big, same matching bottom. First entry short, potentially a second entry short. I thought this is a pretty decent setup because I didn't have this trading range drawn yet, this blue one, but I did play with the idea that there might be some kind of resistance right here. And I like the look of this candle. I did keep it aware of the EMA, may or may not be coming into play, but I thought there's enough room from here all the way down to here. It's at least 15 points. So if I were to take an entry, I'd watch what the next candle does. And if it breaks below this, hopefully it would come back and pick me up roughly right at where the EMA is. It looked like it would have worked. I don't know if I would have been able to get in a trade like this because it looked like it opened and it flashed down. So then prices move. Okay, so now I think there is some kind of support here because it looked like it's creating some kind of, it's having trouble breaking below this line. And that pushes up the EMA. EMA is starting to come into play, but it breaks above and it starts breaking through. Technically, if a new low, first entry short, second entry short, third entry short, but I don't like anything here. Comes around, continues moving. It moves up, so it looks like it's respecting kind of not very clean, a little ugly, the support here because it flashed down here, kind of went a little bit of a higher low, another higher low, but then it made a lower low and another lower low here. So it made it a little bit difficult for me to trust that this support is very strong. Nevertheless, it moves up. It looks like it's having trouble up here. So this is actually where I draw my trading range because I thought, okay, it looks like this is a range now. Went from the lows to the highs, back to the lows, well down here for a bit. Now it's back at the highs. It breaks out, potential fail breakout, but this isn't very clean price action. I kind of don't know what's going on. It moves back down. Okay, so I'm watching. I'm thinking is a fail breakout could make one attempt up and then maybe another flush down to test this side. And it kind of does that. So it's a new high here. It's a first entry long pullback, second entry long. So second entry long, I wasn't thinking going long because I'm thinking the failed breakout is going to push back to this other side. So I was wondering if there's going to be a failed breakout. It creates still a first entry long, second entry long. The breakout, not the breakout, the second entry long hasn't failed yet. And here it fails. So I marked it for myself as a failed second entry long. I don't know how I would have known to take this trade. I think this candle needed to be more bearish, like close down here for me to feel confident. And then once this candle was forming and closed way down here, I don't know that I would try to take a trade below this guy to push it down because I'm concerned that it might hit the potential resistance here, some kind of support here, because this candle had trouble moving down. And I don't know if I would have put it up here to hope that the candle would come back up and pick me. It looks like if I did put my trade here or even below this one, I would have gotten in as a short. It would have flashed up and my stop would have been up here. And this candle likely would have stopped me out. So I think this would have been a losing trade. Pops around. I saw this as a new low, first entry short, second entry short. Also saw this as a new high, first entry long, second entry long. Now this is a very clean, failed second entry long, first entry long, second entry long. Now here you don't know it's going to be a second entry long. Here when it closes, you go, okay, obviously it's the failure. But again, I don't know where I would have taken this trade because it looks like it's making a, not quite, but very close matching double bottom. So I don't know that I'd take it one tick below here or try to reduce my risk and take it up here. But let's say I did take it one below this green one. Looks like it would have gotten filled, and it looks like it would have worked. So just kind of interesting. Price then continued moving down. It hits the support again. It's a new low. It's a first entry short, second entry short. The second entry short fails. I think this is a trade worth taking because it broke out of this green channel, made one attempt up, tested the highs, but it could be trying a second attempt up to make even a higher high. This is a good signal bar for the failed second entry short. This following trigger bar, proving that it's a failure, isn't bad either because it looked like when this thing opened here, actually up here, there's a big push by sellers to push it down. And at the very end, it didn't break below this candle, this green one here. Buyers were able to push it all the way back above the EMA and close to the highs. So I thought this is pretty close to, probably a pretty okay trade to take because there was also just enough room, actually not enough room. It would have been, you either have to set it back at the highs here or hope that prices would push above this. So I think this trade might have been worth taking though. And it looked like it would have worked. Then prices continue moving, comes down, first entry short, second entry short, nothing that I particularly like. Comes up, respects the top of the trading range again, which isn't bad. First entry long, second entry long. This is a really strong candle to go second entry long, but it's also inside bar, so I wasn't too keen on that. I saw this as a new low, first entry short, second entry short. Now, second entry short, I think this is a decent trade to take because if you thought there was some kind of support, maybe right here, you still have enough room to scalp out. It hit the highs. Looks like it made one attempt down, pull back, and second attempt down. So it's like one attempt down, push up. Now it could create a second attempt down to test this low of this trading range. So this might have been a worthwhile trade to take. It's a good signal bar. I probably would have taken it maybe 1 point below this guy. Looked like it would have worked though. Flashes down, breaks out of the lows of this early established range. Prices then get up and moving. Looks like it's getting a little choppy. It falls into what I think is this yellow, excuse me, this orange channel, but doesn't last very long, so I don't really trust it, and that's okay because it looks like price action just kind of abandons it, moves up, starts chopping around. It starts moving back into the pre-market highs and lows. I saw a new high, first entry long, pullback, second entry long, and then looks like a first entry long, second entry long failure, and then a lower high. But the problem with this lower high is it's potentially running into this support. I didn't trust that this was a trading range just yet, but if this bounces and moves back up, then I would believe this is some kind of support. Then depending how it reacts up here, then it would be confirmed trading range. But this is a lower high, but I think it felt risky, even though it's a decent signal bar. You'd have to trust that it's going to push below this guy and keep going. So it looks like if you try to put an entry here, it doesn't get filled, that would tell me like abandon the setup. Don't think, kind of abandon the idea. Here, if you stayed in too long, looked like you would have gotten filled, and then you probably would have gotten stopped out here. There's a higher low here because it looks like it's confirming the triple test, creates a higher low. Prices might be moving back up to here. This signal bar isn't the best, so I'm not confident that I would have thought of taking a trade here. But then, in hindsight, then you think, okay, well, obviously there's a higher low, but even though that, it's obvious after the fact, the body feels a little neutral. So it confirms this top of the range. Now it might be, a little bit lower. Let me just adjust it, maybe something like this to have this touch. It doesn't really matter. It's just confirm that you do have kind of a trading range prices are respecting. Then it moves down and breaks out, falls down. I didn't see any news item to justify why this is just selling off. It just did. But it's also getting late in the day. So if I was trying to trade this, I wouldn't even think about taking a trade here because it just, like the ES in the last 10 minutes, it'll get very, very whippy. And just kind of moves into the close. So kind of how I saw the charts today. I had more time to think about this because the ES is so slow. So kind of how I saw the charts. I'm not sure I would have taken some of the trades I said I would have taken because unless it's in real time, it's hard to know how you would really react or if you would even, I guess, see it in real time because it's always much easier to see the setup, think about it after the fact, and then say, oh, well, obviously it's obvious now there's a setup. But in real time, there's a lot more pressure. So hopefully that was helpful.